Today we got Roy Clark, the director of NNEMAP Food Pantry. Roy, tell us a little bit about what's going on in the food pantry these days.
Okay, David, let's see. We have been doing this since 1969, and we've been doing it at this location since 2015. This is probably one of the more difficult, challenging years we have had. We'll probably have for a while. There's a lot of cutbacks that have been taking place in federal, state budgets. The state budget, which affected us pretty quickly, was in July when the Ohio Food Collective, which distributes about 3/4 of food we distribute, gives us about 3/4, had cutbacks of about 30% in the produce. Produce is, of course, the most important thing we distribute because it's healthy. So fruits and vegetables come free from Mid-Ohio. We pay for canned goods and shelf-stable goods, rice and pasta or whatever. But we depend a great deal on the produce. We used to get 13 pallets a week. Now we get 10. So we're faced with spending a little bit of money on a local distributor to make sure we still have produce to give out. So that's the one big challenge. Fundraising is always a challenge, is paying for expenses of running this building, running this operation. One of the things we do that no one else does, we do, is deliveries. We have a big delivery program. We think it's probably the biggest in the state of Ohio. For what we do, we deliver 25 to 40 a day. We do about a little less than half of it ourselves with a delivery driver. The other 55, 60% goes through DoorDash. We started using DoorDash a couple of years ago. They're very efficient, but they do charge us $4 a delivery box. That is a cost that not all pantries have, but it's a service that not all pantries have either. So one of the neat things about deliveries is that we are literally reaching a population we normally would not reach. For example, 40% of the deliveries are seniors, and that compares with about 12 or 13% of the families that come to visit us. So we were depending totally on serving seniors by who comes to us. We would be doing about 4 times as many with our delivery program, which is important. And we hate to have to cut back that expense.
Your delivery program covers everything within 270 around Columbus, correct?
It does, yeah, thank you. Yeah, 270 is our border, 270 outer belt. So for example, we don't deliver to Rose City or Roseburg, areas like that, but we're busy with the rest of them, and it's a really good system. We also have refrigerated lockers, and we were the first food pantry in the country to offer this service. Food banks like Mid-Ohio and other food banks across the country had started opening them up, and Mid-Ohio opened one up in 2020, I think 2023, and one of our staff, Jim Hamburg, got very interested in it and started delving into the details of it and found out what it would cost us. And we got the funding for it. It was about $70,000. And some of the funders were very interested in this new kind of delivery vehicle. And the reason that's been important is that we found that a good portion of the people who come to use the lockers were not pantry people before. They had not been using the pantry system. So either because they were unable to work it in their schedule, or because maybe they were just uncomfortable coming to a food pantry in general.
And these lockers are refrigerated, right?
Yes, refrigerated, yep. It's like an Amazon locker, except they're refrigerated.
Okay.
So we give someone 48 hours to pick up their food, and they get a reminder at 24 hours. And after that, we take the food back out and get rid of the meats and produce, but we save all the rest of the stuff. And it works well. I'd say about 85% of the people do pick up their foods on time, and we still have some that don't.
Okay. You said you're located on 11th Avenue, right opposite the fairgrounds. Is that a pretty central location for the people that you service? It is convenient for the freeway.
It is, and we still, the zip codes that are closest to us at Linden and Milo Grogan and those areas are, and I guess North Morse Road, those are still our biggest. But we don't turn anybody down. And we started that during the pandemic. We used to be a pantry that served only 5 zip codes. And with the pandemic, we realized, well, first of all, we weren't turning anybody down for obvious reasons. Everybody was scared. Everybody was unsure what was going on. A lot of people didn't even think we were open. But once the word got out that pantries were still open, we started seeing people from all over the place. And we wanted to do that and realized that it really wasn't such a big deal to add a zip code or actually make the whole county available for us. And that's what we started doing. And we started doing deliveries then and staying open, being open 6 days a week instead of 5. So we did a number of things that were very helpful to us. Fly here.
I know one of your big fundraisers is the Harmony for Hunger concert. Why don't you tell us about that? I believe that's going to be next month.
Yep. The concert began pretty much the second year I was around, which was 2010. And one of our choir directors, Al Adcock from Northwest Christian, was on our committee. And he was the one that named it. We said, we got to have a name for this event so that we could not just say a benefit concert. And he said, how about Harmony for Hunger? And that's been it ever since. We rotate each year, and it's usually the Friday before Thanksgiving. We rotate locations, venues, mostly from one church to another among our supporting churches. We've had good success working with the churches and getting them to bring a large crowd from their congregation. And we try to have one major, well-known organization that is our headliner. And this year it's the Sweet Adeline group, which is women who do barbershop quartet type things. Next year we're going to have Ohio State Men's League Club again. And then the rest of it is local talent from churches or just the neighborhood, people that we know that are talented. And it can be, music can be sacred, it can be Broadway, it can be jazz, it can be instrumental. It's usually solos to quartets for the most part. And it's a great concert. And we also have a silent auction. And so we get all kinds of everything from gift cards to handmade products, trips on occasion. So we're always excited about that. This year it's going to be at Northwest Christian Church on Fishinger in Upper Arlington. And it's Friday the 21st of November at 7:30.
Quite an eclectic mix of talent that you have. I know in the past I've heard some amazing handbells that have been done, as well as organ music and everything else in between.
Yeah, the handbells are memorable. The one guy was just firing on all cylinders with both hands, and it was amazing what he could do. But every year it's a little different. That's what makes it kind of fun. You'll get a guy with a great voice. This year we're going to have Michael Lester, who's a fabulous pianist. Michael's been to Carnegie Hall 2 or 3 times, and just is a fabulous piano player. And we're very excited to have him as well. So yeah, it's an eclectic group, and you'll get from one to the other. It'll be just a wide variety of music and talent and entertainment.
How many people a month do you service, and how many over the course of a year?
Let's see. This year we're trending to have about 50,000 visits. Last year was a little bigger. It's slowed down a bit, but last year we had around 55,000 visits. This year it's going to be around 50. That translates into about, 180-some thousand family members. Now, the actual unique families that we serve is about 16,000 unique families, and they come on the average of about 4 times, maybe a little less. When you do the numbers, that's the way it turns out. And some do come every week. There's no question about that. But a lot of people come when they need it. So I think last year we distributed 2.3 million pounds, which is pretty amazing. Again, Mid-Ohio was about 3/4 of that. Our second biggest organization that helps us is called Food Rescue. And Food Rescue is an organization that's national. They have a very active Columbus chapter, and they get calls from lots of places. Sometimes it's a produce market that's closing and they have extra stuff and they're about to finish their day. Sometimes it's a manufacturer or whatever that's got stuff in their warehouse and they need to get rid of it. It's all kinds of things. Sometimes we're one of the few pantries open on Saturdays, and we get the advantage of having a lot of those donations from Food Rescue on Saturdays, and sometimes they're huge. So that's a big organization. The rest are churches, food drives, just a lot of different things that come to us through various organizations. We started doing something recently called produce pickups, and because we're short on our produce from Mid-Ohio, we've had some success with this. We've had about 5 of them. And what we do is, so far we worked with churches. It could also be an organization that's having a big meeting. You promote it 2 or 3 weeks ahead of time, and you promote it by telling everyone that, hey, we need it badly. And secondly, whatever you bring in at your meeting date, we'll give out the next day. And so we bring our van over to the church or the organization, and we sat there for 2 or 3 hours and let people bring in their produce. We've had everything from 1,600 pounds to 250 pounds, but all of it's good. And we'll continue that, not every month, but every so often. You want to keep the people interested in it. And so we'll do that again probably either at the end of this year or first of next year.
Tell us a little bit about the upcoming Christmas gift shop that happened.
Thank you, David. We do this every year. We've done it for a number of years. Our Christmas shop is located at a church that has space for us. This year, like last year, it's at the Travelers Rest Missionary Baptist Church at 13th and Cleveland Avenue. I think the address is 1533. And it's the 15th, 16th, 17th, and 18th of December, Monday through Thursday, the week before Christmas. And from 9 to 1. And sign up is coming up the first 2 weeks of November. And it's during our regular business hours. People can come and bring their own ID, and they bring an ID for any of their children 17 and under. Then we write down on there how many girls you have, how many boys, what their ages are. And so when they come with the sheet we give them, which has the information on it, the volunteers know that they're looking for a girl who's age 5 and a boy who's age 13. And it helps them when they start shopping. And we bring a 20-foot U-Haul over 2 weeks before that, starting December 1st. And we always fill it to the brim with donations from churches, from organizations. We have the woodworkers of Central Ohio, Loco, and they do these handmade wood toys and airplanes and things, and they always give us boxes and boxes of them. So we are very fortunate that is a big event. We usually serve 1,100 kids.
I've helped out at that before. I think it's just fabulous.
That is. It's
Outreach opportunity.
It is.
It seems to be very appreciated. So what do you see in store over the next year? What's going to change for food pantries?
Well, I think we're going to get busier, if not for any real reason, and that some federal government cuts in food stamps and soon cuts in Medicaid are going to affect families and their pocketbooks. So right now the government shutdown the fight is over whether or not subsidies for Obamacare will continue or not. Right now they're not expected to. So, but people have only so much money to spend on their living accommodations, their transportation, clothing, whatever. The one thing they can do is not spend money on food by coming to food pantries. And people go to more than one. We're aware of that, and that's because we don't have everything they need every day. We will, whatever we have is going to be a good representation of what we've been given. And then another pantry maybe have some slightly different assortment that they use, so families can go to 2 or 3 or 4 pantries in the course of the week and take care of their family, which is very helpful.
Okay. Well, thank you, Roy, for telling us about NNEMAP Food Pantry.
You're welcome.
And the work that you do in the community. Well needed, and you serve a lot of people. Thank you very much.
Thank you.